peeps. So today is Friday, May 1st. We are on our last day of week 5 for digital distance learning. So today we're going to go over our agenda. We have our what, why, and how, I ready minutes, and then we're going to go over central idea and details notes, which I am going to walk you through in this lesson. So our what, why, and how, we're going to be talking about central ideas and supporting details. Now, I want you to think about central ideas in terms of, where you've learned about them in, 6th grade and 7th grade. Now learning about central idea in 8th grade, we're going to think about central idea as an argument, or it can be someone's thesis, right? Someone's point that they are trying to make, and then the details that they use to support that is basically what we're talking about today. And the reason why we're doing that is because you have to be able to know how to identify those things, right? You have to be able to know how to recognize someone's claim or argument or the central idea of their piece. But then you also have to be able to recognize the details that they use to support it. And then by learning those things, you are going to be better equipped to write those pieces yourself. So we're going to take notes today. You're going to complete them by the end of class with my help, of course. And that's what you have to do at the end of the day. It's pretty simple. So you have I ready minutes. You guys know that at the end of the week, I do check your I ready minutes. They are counting towards your grade, so please make sure that you complete them. So, note taking in digital distance learning. I'm going to start and you are going to follow. I have 2 pro tips for you before I start. I would highly suggest having 2 screens open, and then I would also suggest that you follow along with what I'm doing, and when I pause, you probably should pause too. So I'm going to get out of this page here, and I'm going to open up the document that you all have. Yours looks like this. It says 5.1 Friday student notes, and then it has your first and last name because a copy's been made for you. You probably won't see Mr. McCulley on your copy, right? But I have my own copy, which is exactly the same as yours, so that I can do this. I'm going to pull it into its own window, and I'm going to break it down a little bit so that it's a little bit smaller. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into this window, and I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller and bring it over here. And I'm going to open up my notes, which are down here, and I'm going to bring them over here. Let's see, let's move around. So you should be able to have my video open, like the video of me talking right now, as well as your notes. And obviously your screen won't have this little thing down here on it, right? So it says, determining central idea and details. The blank of a piece of writing is the main concept about a topic that a writer conveys. The blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm not going to edit my slides, but I am going to go to the next one. And this is what you need to write in the blanks. So it says the central idea of a piece of writing is the main concept about a topic that a writer conveys. Okay? So what you should do is you should highlight where it says fill in the blank, delete that, get rid of it, and write central idea, right? This is what we just talked about in our what, why, and how. The central idea of a piece is the main concept. In a piece where someone is claiming something, like they might say students who get more sleep do better on math tests. I don't actually know if that's true. I just made that up. But that would be the central idea or the main concept or the argument or the claim of the piece, okay? So the fill in the blank there is the central idea. Then we're going to keep going. Entire pieces of writing can be based around a central idea again. So I'm going to highlight and write central idea. And so can individual blank. The blank that goes here is paragraphs. Then it says a central idea is supported by blank. Evidence maybe? A central idea is supported by support. A central idea is supported by details. So, same deal. Highlight details. Oops. These can be facts, statistics, and quotations. So, first blank is facts. Second blank is statistics, right? So when we're talking about someone who has done some sort of research and they say 75% of students who get a better night's sleep score an A or higher, or you can't score higher than an A, score a B or higher on a math test, that would be a statistic, right? And then we have quotations. So quotations, right, usually we have an expert in the field or an expert on the subject or someone who has done some sort of research who is giving us their interpretation of the facts and statistics. And so we have quotations that we might include. Then you guys have this little table. And it says the detail, right? So we know that the details are facts, statistics, and quotations. It gives you a what it is, right? So a little explanation and then an example. So if we look above, we probably don't even need my chart over here to pop up, right? Because we know that this blank is going to be facts, statistics. We got statistics. Oh, let's make an S. And the bottom one is going to be quotations. Okay? Then it says what it is. A statement that can be proved is a fact. I wonder what statistics could be. Let's refer back to the slides for today, and let's see what we have here. Oh, it says a statistic is information that deals with numbers. So in my box, I'm going to write information that deals with numbers. And your box is complete. You just had those 3 spaces to fill in. So statistics, what it is, right, or a statistic is information that deals with numbers. So we talked about that, right? 75% of individuals who fall asleep earlier are able to achieve a B or higher on a math test. An example that they give us is already on average 2 people die every day across the USA in vehicles driven by 16-year-old drivers. That is an example directly from the text that you read over the last 2 days. The fact example says many states have begun to raise the age by imposing restrictions on 16-year-old drivers. That is a fact. It is a statement, right, that can be proved. We can find specific states that have done that. For quotations, right, this is another quotation directly from the text. It is an expert who has written something or has been interviewed or whatever, and they're saying, this is my interpretation of those things, or this is my understanding, or these are my noticings, right? So this particular quote says, quote, skills are a minor factor in most cases, says Alan Williams. Ooh, I missed a comma here. Says Alan Williams, former chief scientist at the Insurance Institute. So this little clarifying sentence here helps us to know that this is an expert, right? Helps us to know that he used to be the science chief at this insurance place, right? And we know insurance people are often dealing with drivers of cars. So he's probably a pretty credible source. He's probably somebody that we want to hear from. Then it says there are multiple ways to blank the facts, quotations from experts, and statistics, depending on the blank of the reader. So there are often multiple ways to interpret, right? There are multiple ways to look at something and determine what you think it means, right? I might look at that 75% of students are getting a B or higher, and I might interpret it as, wow, this must have been, a pretty easy test if most of the students are getting a B. Or I might interpret it as, I wonder how skewed that is. How many students are getting A's? It's probably like 1% and everybody else got a B, right? It's all up to the way that you interpret it. If this quotation right here that says skills are a minor factor in most cases, if this wasn't from this former chief scientist at the insurance company, let's say it said skills are a minor factor in most cases, says Alan Williams, a commercial actor for the Insurance Institute, I might interpret that as, wow, he's getting paid to say this, right? So there are multiple ways that you can interpret facts and quotations and statistics, right? And all of that depends on the attitudes or the beliefs, right? The attitudes, the understandings, the perspectives, right? The bias of the reader, and you are the reader, okay? And the piece for this week is 16 Too Young to Drive a Car. Readers have to decide if or how a blank helps to support the blank. So this blank right here needs to be supported by this blank right here. So we know that central ideas need to be supported by details. So how a detail helps to support the central idea. And this one down here where it says central idea, right, just like it says on this screen, central idea could also be the argument or the claim. It could also be the argument, the claim, the thesis, right? All that kind of stuff. Those are all kind of in the same realm that we're talking about. You have an argument, you have a statement, a claim, a thesis, and you need those details that come in the form of facts, quotations, and statistics in order to be able to support that. Okay, so when you're done filling out your notes, you are going to click submit, and boop. We're going to talk about where we are going and what you need to do. So next week, we are going to be rolling into what's called a PSA, a public service announcement. And when we move into that, we are going to need to be in communication and sticking with each other in order to be able to stay on task and not fall behind. Okay? And now, one of the other things that we're going to do after the PSA is we're going to be looking at like 2 weeks left of school. So we are going to need to make sure that we're wrapping up what you guys still have to do. So you absolutely 100,000 billion% should be trying to finish Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry if you haven't already. There is a special message for you guys when you are done. You need to be in communication with me when you are done. And then I am able to keep track of how many people that we have are done. The sooner you finish that, the less work we're going to have at the end of the year. I'm going to repeat that. The sooner you finish Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, the less work we are going to have at the end of the year. Okay? So I want to say thank you guys. This concludes week 5 of digital distance learning. We officially have 3 weeks left. I'm so proud of you all. You're doing so well. I miss seeing you in the classroom, and I cannot wait for your work. I can't wait to see how you do next week when we start talking about public service announcements. Goodbye.